All right, here we go. This is the police station, the future police station in Fort Myers. I think there's about 8 buildings there total, and we have taken all those buildings down at this point. That's Colton in our 323 excavator. What he's doing there is just knocking off things and separating the metal from the construction debris. We got a huge amount of metal off of this job. The red iron there, we'll take that in as number 1, and they were paying us like 10 cents a pound. The tin is a different type of metal, and he was separating that out pretty good. So it's a pretty big job. It's on 5 acres. We had all these buildings. We got a lot of cool stuff out of there. We got this really cool thing at the shop. A Chuck E. Cheese vintage sign is hanging up at the shop from this job. The Fort Myers Police Department bought another building to build this facility, and I believe that it wasn't big enough or something, so they've had to scramble and get something else. So this was an assemblage, which means they bought building after building after building after building all the way up the street and all the way over onto Fowler Street. This is a very big project, probably 5 to 6 acres maybe. I don't know exactly what the square footage was, but all of that asphalt that you see underneath there, that'll all be taken up. This metal here is going to go to the same scrap yard that we've been taking all our other stuff to. It's only about 5 miles from here. So that is a 65-yard end dump. We actually bought it new. We bought it right around the hurricane time. You couldn't find any used ones at that time, so we ended up having to buy it new. So that's Sepio out there, and he's grabbing stuff that can be recycled. He's also grabbing stuff that's mixed in with the metal to make it easier for Colton to grab a hold of stuff in a quicker manner. So anyway, there he is, going very quickly and separating out, making different piles of different things. The amount of metal that came off of this one, I think we had like 15 or 20 big gigantic loads in that trailer that were taken over to the scrapyard. If we ran these videos at the speed that an excavator actually moves at, it would bore you to death. So we're running these at like 3 times the speed. Again, that's Sepio. He's incredible. He will do the work of 2 or 3 guys in a day. A lot of these guys, they just don't know what to do, and he stays busy all the time. He's looking for regular wire, he's looking for copper piping, he's looking for anything that can be recycled, brass, different things like that. This right here, this is a concrete end dump. The dumps are very close to this area here. The downtown Fort Myers area has multiple dumps that are all close to each other. So this end dump here, probably be about $100 to dump it. Some of the places up in that area, they'll actually take the concrete for free because they're in a prime location to recycle it and resell it, and they just want to get as much as they can. So that bucket right there is a special bucket. It is designed to get all the little tiny debris up after we do these teardowns. It actually shakes.
We gotta take care of our guys.
Yep.
You know, it's hot out here, so them being cool, they work more hours.
That's right.
They do a better job.
Yep, you already know.
Hey, I came up with a new slogan.
What's that?
Remove it. Then we all walk out.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll try it.
Hey guys, I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Trying to be #1 on YouTube. There's nobody doing it like us. We're bigger, better. Every time you come, you will be interested. We will never. We refuse to be a boring YouTube channel. Remove it.
So there they are. The guys are putting in window tent. These are my hands-on demo guys. And they're putting on window tent for them guys because they know how to do it. All right, so here they are. They're back at it. He's separating out the metal, getting it ready for the end dump. You can see he's torn down that whole one side of that building. A lot of times what they do is he'll grab those girders, and they're almost like they're toothpicks or something, and he'll pull them right out of the building. See that? Look at that. The power that these excavators have is just amazing. There you go, he pulled the whole building over. So separating this stuff, there's definitely a different value. Normally when you're doing ferrous metal, and ferrous metal is the kind of metal that is magnetic, there's different grades of it. The red iron there, they're paying us 10 cents a pound. The other metal, which is sheet metal, sheet metal, I'm really not sure. I didn't ask Talon on that. A lot of these fences, we were going to take them down and reuse them. The property that we were going to buy, and we needed that for the deal fell through. There was some problems we found in the due diligence. We wouldn't have been able to use the property for what we were going to buy it for, and it just wasn't worth the risk that the city would come back and say, no, you can't do that. Yeah, that's Colton operating, and he's a whiz. He's been at this since he was, I think he told me he was 10 years old. His grandpa had him out on a farm digging things and moving stuff around when he was just a young kid. I talked to Colton about doing some other things with us because he's a pretty sharp dude, and he said, Dave, he says, I just love operating these machines. That's what I want to do for a living. And I'm like, okay, cool. So when they're done, what they're going to do is they're going to come back through and they're going to pull up all of the asphalt and separate it. They'll pull up all the concrete in a separate load. They're just going to do a little bit of it as they go around. That other truck going by right there, that's one of our crews, and they're up there just, they had a slow day somewhere else, and they're over here helping out with scrapping, getting wires and material out of the job and cleaning up all the little crap and separating things so that, the C&D doesn't have contaminants in it, and that the metal is going to have just metal in it. Any of the wire we can pull out of there is worth a lot more money than taking it in for 10 cents a pound. The asphalt, like I said, will be taken up. A lot of times we can find somebody who's buying it in town and they're using it to take some of these rural roads, and they'll put it and mix it in with the dirt and that until they get enough of it. And then when it gets hot in the summer sun, it melts together and it more or less makes a road, and they don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. They just pay like $300 a load for the asphalt when we take it up. Look at that. Look at how much metal he's able to pick up in one little scoop. Isn't that something? That's crazy. Before these machines, can you imagine how much time it would take to do that with just strictly manpower? one of the things they're going to do at the tail end of this job is they're going to take all the vegetation and they'll load it into different trucks and they'll take that to a different yard. That's taken in by cubic feet. These were a bunch of storefronts, and they're over on Fowler Street. And I mean, this property was really, really big. It had a bunch of warehouses on it. And you see the dumpster behind him kind of pinned up in there. He's putting in, he's either putting aluminum or he's putting sheet metal in there from the roofs. This looks like a mess, but it's not. It's piles of separate types of debris, and they just run different types of debris at different types of the day, depending on, you know, what the traffic is. So this project took us, I think it took like 8 weeks. It was a really, really big project. And we, as luck would have it, we ended up having 5 gigantic projects all at the same time. So it took us a while to bang through them all. This is a drone shot running over the building. There's the Family Dollar there on Fowler Street. The downtown Fort Myers area from here is, it's probably a quarter mile away, so it's not far at all. The entertainment district for the downtown Fort Myers is pretty close by. So there he is, he keeps picking away and pulling those roofs apart and getting the metal out and getting the concrete and putting it in one pile, getting the metal from the roofs and just pulling things out like that. And then, folding it up and putting it over so it's easier to load, and just one step at a time. This is a very expensive job. This was a very profitable one. We had one job that we did on Sanibel, and we had a new guy working with us. And he mixed so much debris in, or so much dirt in with the debris, that we made a very, very small profit. And, that was kind of aggravating because we could have been over here working on this thing and making more money. But, it is what it is. Some people they're just lazy and they don't want to help. They just want to earn an hourly rate, and they don't really care whether they add value or not. If somebody's employing you, they got to make a profit. And if you don't make a profit, well, you can't employ people. So that one particular guy cost us, he probably cost us $30,000 in profit. So, it is what it is. We're businessmen. We don't cry about stuff like that, but it is unnecessary. So here we are, drone shot directly above, and you see him using the bucket there to sweep all of the cinder blocks into a pile and get them ready for the truck to get in there and get loaded up. So he's got a pile of ferrous metal, and then he's got a pile of concrete. This is another drone shot of him poking in and looking for those metal girders to pull out of that building, so he can separate the metal from the building. So on this job, we had dumpsters for scrap metal. 99% of it was going to be all ferrous metal, very little bit of aluminum. We did get a lot of different copper, and we got a lot of different HVAC systems and stuff like that out of this. We got a lot of copper piping, and we're still working on processing all that at the shop. It was such a huge amount of stuff coming in all at the same time. And so then you have the C&D, which is the construction debris loads going out of this job. And then you are having asphalt loads going out as separated loads. And then you have the vegetation. So you have all these different things coming off of this one job. Look at how easily that thing just rips that concrete up. Kind of amazing. These machines. Absolutely love running the excavator. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to do it. I'm busy doing other stuff. But every now and then I'll get on it and run it for 6 or 8 or 10 hours. And I just love it. I never get tired of it. It's a joy. they're just big toys to me. Now, if I had to do it every day, I don't know if I'd love it as much as Colton does, but he definitely loves it. He is crazy in love with that stuff. So right here, Sepio would have sliced up those trees to make them a little more manageable to get them into the trucks. Yeah, you know, it's funny, they completely ignored those signs. They were in there scrapping, illegally scrapping in those buildings all the time. So all of those stumps, what they do is they bang them on the ground about 20 times, get all the dirt they can off of them, and then they get them as small as they can and put them into the truck, and they take them over to the horticulture places, and they have these big machines that spin, and they eat them up, and they turn them into mulch. So right here, this is us loading up trees and vegetation. And again, this whole property here is going to be the Fort Myers Police Headquarters. So they'll have their maintenance there, they'll park their cars there, they'll have their admin there, their HR. The jail's not too far away from here. And they'll keep the jail that they have. It's a big deal for them to award this to us, because there's certain contractors that have been here forever, and they typically end up with these jobs. So we're kind of new to this part of the demo game. We're not new at all to the hands-on demo that we do primarily. We're doing, you know, close to 2,000 hands-on demos a year, with or without doing all of the demos we've been doing with this machine-driven demolition. What we really like about the machine-driven demolition is the fact that we end up getting so much more stuff for our Reuse It Pros warehouse. We're getting a lot of hurricane windows, we're getting a lot of appliances and kitchens and all kinds of everything you could possibly think of. And the beauty of that is all that stuff doesn't end up going into the landfill, so we get to repurpose it all. The amount of stuff we got to repurpose out of these buildings was relatively small. There were a lot of people that had been scavenging through these before we ever got over here. We did get a tremendous amount of scrap, every kind of scrap. In order to finish this one up, we normally are not messing around too much with bulldozers, but in order to do this one and get it leveled out in a timely manner and make it look nice and pretty, we rented that for, I think we rented it for like 2 days. So that is a roll-off truck. That's a 20-yard dumpster. We used the 20-yarders. If you put the amount of concrete you could put on that truck in a 30-yard dumpster, it's too heavy, it's not legal. And it would also possibly break the cable. This is our little New Holland, which is it's a real piece of junk, so we're always constantly fixing it. Probably shouldn't have bought that. I bought it in a hurry right after the hurricane. So we got 3 skid steers right now, and 3 excavators, and 2 roll-off trucks, and I don't know, 15 or 20 dumpsters. We finally took them forever to get it. We finally got all our signage put together, and we're gonna be putting it on our new equipment. So funny thing is the lady call up there to get our signs made, and these people weren't responding to me. And you know, I was like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, and he says, you know, hey, my mom died. I'm like, oh God, I felt so bad. What a nice lady. And she did a lot, so I'm not so sure. I don't know how these guys are going to do without her helping out. But anyway, here it is, Remove It Pros Demolition. And hey, thanks for watching the video. If you like what you saw, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.